Hi, this is Les Posen, FlightWise Fear of Flying clinical psychologist. Welcome. It's early July 2023, midwinter here in Melbourne, quite cold. I'm actually here in Sydney. Well, it looks like I'm in Sydney. This is the view from the Qantas Lounge in Sydney, overlooking the northern part of the ramp at Qantas. You should see some aircraft coming by any time now. I want to welcome those who are new to my small channel about overcoming anxiety, especially in flying, but also other transport and other situations. And if you're a subscriber and you're a regular visitor, I hope you're going to learn something more in this small video. Back in April this year, I shared with you a video, and I'm going to just pull it up now, where I talked to you a little bit about these things. I'll put myself over here in the corner, just where I was before. And I shared with you this idea that we can perceive physical sensations either in anticipation of being on board a plane or actually within one. And you can see there, over there, the racing heart, a choky sense, feeling of disquiet in our stomachs, often referred to as nausea, which can be experienced both in tummy and in throat, dizziness or disorientation, and of course there's vertigo, which can happen when you look out the window, but especially if you go close to a cliff. If you've been on a tall building and you walk out onto the veranda or the patio up on a tall building, balustrade, you can look over, and it can be quite uncomfortable. It can then induce these physical sensations, which can happen quite automatically because of an evolutionary primed wiring in us that's been genetically transposed to us through our ancestry of being a human being. And we can come to a thinking conclusion, a cognitive conclusion, that I'm in danger, because these signals are often experienced when we are truly in danger, and they're happening quite automatically. And that means that if they occur randomly or in response to some perceived threat in the environment or some anticipated threat in the environment, because I'm going back into a place where I've experienced these before, we can often have associated concerns which help us to conclude that we're in danger, such as above me, I'm falling, there's no air in here, I'll be left alone, I'll be trapped, and I have no control once I board that plane. And these are all cognitions or anticipations or expectations or probabilities that become certainties. And once you're sure that there are certainties, that this is absolutely going to happen because, A, that's what happened last time, or I've seen all the movies, or that's what my friends tell me, then you can't help but accelerate and exacerbate, increase those physical sensations, which of course closes the door, turns the key, and you are now locked into avoidance behavior or some other form of trying to shut down on some of these uncomfortable sensations, which might include medications or alcohol, something that will subdue your levels of discomfort. Some people who can't do that will try and use distractions, coloring books, holding on to things, prayer, where you're not necessarily an observant person, but you just sort of hold on to these prayers. And I want to suggest to you, if you look at the blue and the red kind of jaws here, I want to give you a demonstration. Do you remember my jelly demonstration that I showed you a while back, where I put the jelly into, I put a plane into jelly and I shook it around. Many people find these quite useful as sort of illustrations that put thoughts and feelings and sensations into physical demonstrations. So I've got another one for you that I'll share with you. Now this comes from here, and this is from these devices which allow you to, if I separate these out, there we go, which allow you to connect and put things up on the wall, for instance. So you put one on the back of it and you put this other one there, and what it allows you to do is use these kind of Velcro things. This is not actually Velcro. This is 3M's own particular one, but Velcro, if you might recall, has lots of little tiny hooks and lots of little tiny holes. And when you press them together, the hooks go into the holes and it holds. Well, the one that 3M has come up with is slightly different, but it has the same kind of thing. So if I put them together like so, and then I squeeze, you can hold them up tight, and I squeeze, you'll probably even hear them. Oh, did you hear how they're all going like this? Yeah, there you go. And in a sense, that mimics what I was showing you before, which is this sort of these jaws coming together. And what happens is, what we want to do is do this. Let me make myself bigger. We want to do this. We want to find ways to go and separate out so that we can have these physical sensations, and rather than going, oh my God, I'm falling, I'm in danger, there's not going to be any air in here, we can simply say, I'm experiencing physical sensations. I don't like them, they're uncomfortable, and yet they're perfectly normal. If you went to the gym, let's just say December 31 rolls around, you decide, New Year's resolution, I've got to do something about my physical well-being, and I decide to go to the gym, and I pay for a personal trainer for 5 sessions, and he or she takes me through some exercises, and I come back, and he comes back or she comes back half an hour after I've been doing a treadmill or a bike ride, and I don't have an increased heart rate, and I don't have shortness of breath, and I don't feel a little bit woozy because of my exertions, that trainer might say to me, I think you might be wasting your time because you're clearly not willing to work hard enough. In other words, normal sensations in response to physical output have to be considered as, that's part of the course when you go to the gym or you're doing exercise. The difficulty is that if we're just sitting there and we start to feel racing heart and choking, then we can start to say, I'm in danger, when in fact these are evidence that we are anticipating being in danger, and our body says, well, why waste time? Let's do something about that now and get the heck out of here, i.e. avoidance behaviors or sometimes superstitious behaviors, something to try and ward off some terrible experience. And I'm afraid there's no shortcut to this. If we're going to do this, okay, because at some point, our behaviors and our thoughts and our sensations have become fused. They've stuck together. And we have to find various ways to separate these things out. Okay? So just because you have physical sensations does not mean you're in danger. Okay? It doesn't mean that. It just means I'm experiencing unpleasant sensations, some of which is due to my thinking and anticipating, and some of it actually due to being inside somewhere or approaching somewhere it is hot and there isn't much air circulating and it's really bothersome. But we have to separate out that from being afraid, i.e. that is, we're in danger. And over the next little while, what I'd like to do is show you some techniques that we psychologists have worked out works really well for doing just this. So for the next little while, if you're going to go into places where you know I have physical sensations, but I know logically I'm not in danger, and yet I experience it as being in danger, find some of these at your local hardware store. Take some with you and play with it. Just to remind you, it's not a distraction, just to remind you, my task going forward, if I'm going to really manage my fear reactions so that I can go ahead and do things that I've previously been afraid to do or not done as frequently as I would have liked, or not done as comfortably, that I can start to separate these things out and tolerate these sensations, and at the same time put the danger in its place. Okay? I choose to go on this plane, to go to places, to bring joy to my life, to see people I want to see, to have experiences, and I don't have to do it in dread and anticipation of danger. I just have to plan what I'm doing and learn how to master this ability to separate these things out. And that's where my next couple of videos are going to go. So please stick around. Throw some comments down there and let me know the sort of sensations and sort of things you'd like to know more about. And I'm going to work out with you some programs for how to do just what I've said to you before. Hope this has been helpful. Look forward to speaking with you another time very soon. Bye for now.